The Celtics defeated the Mavericks 106-88 to win their 18th title in the history of the franchise. This game was not really interesting, to be honest. From the start, the Celtics just jumped on the Mavericks. By the end of the first quarter, they were up by 10 points, and they never looked back in this game. It was pretty much over by halftime. They were up by 20-some points. You knew that they were going to win, and this was just a certainty. It was like a formality. For me, I was just watching the second half to see who was going to get Finals MVP. That's really what I was going to watch the game for, to be honest, because there's nothing else interesting about it. The Celtics are just so dominant in this game. Jaylen Brown clinched the Finals MVP. He had the best overall series, I would say. But to be fair, I felt Jayson Tatum was great in this game. I think this was the best game of the series. He had 31 points, 8 rebounds, 11 assists, 2 steals. He was all around in this game great. So you give it to him for having a great game. Jaylen Brown got the MVP because he had overall a better series. But one thing I'll say about Tatum is that his playmaking really impressed me throughout the playoffs. I think he's improved to a level where now he's a good playmaker. He's above average. Will he ever be like LeBron or Luka or Jokic when it comes to playmaking? No. But he doesn't have to be. He improved enough where it was good enough to help the Celtics win. He's at that level now where he can make good plays, good reads. I think he now has the balance of knowing when to make the right passes, when to take over a game. To me, I think he's figured it out. Just he has that balance, which is very important. Now, with all this being said, can this Celtics team be a dynasty in the making? I think it's very possible. I'll say this. Before the playoffs started, I thought the only team that could beat them was the Denver Nuggets. That was the only team that would have beaten them in the playoffs. I thought the rest of the teams in the playoffs could not beat them because they just couldn't match up with them overall. That's really how I felt. So they were definitely the best team this year in my eyes once Denver got taken out. Now it'll be interesting next year if they can get back to the finals and who they face. But I feel right now, outside of the Nuggets, there's not really a team that matches up well with them. Just when I look at just overall depth and matchups at this moment in time, obviously that can change heading into this offseason. Teams can make moves, they can make trades. But I'll say this, the Celtics, it looks really good for them, the future. It wouldn't surprise me if this team can get at least 2 more titles with their core of Jaylen Brown and Tatum and Porzingis. And they have Derek White coming back too. They have him for I think another 2 years or so. To me, it's just insane how long they have some of these guys locked up. This team just has a lot of options going forward. To me, the best thing about this team is that their core is young. I think also the big thing is that they finally got the monkey off their backs. I think specifically Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, that they were so close for several years to going all the way and getting that title, and they just couldn't do it. For anybody in life, I think just getting over an obstacle is the hardest thing mentally. If you haven't done something before, it's just hard to do it the first time. That it's so challenging. But once you get over that hump, it's like everything becomes easier. Even though it's difficult to do that same task again, it's not as hard because mentally now you know what it takes and you can deal with the adversity much better. This is where I think it helps the Celtics in the sense that now I feel Tatum and Jaylen Brown mentally are going to be stronger. They're going to know how to win these games that they couldn't win in the past in the playoffs and they couldn't come through. But now they've done it. So I think that's another factor you gotta include into their ability to win titles from this point forward. That they just have the experience now. They're going to be mentally stronger. They're both heading into their primes now, so they're only going to get better for the next several years. I think they'll be even better than what they are now. That it just looks really good for Boston. I think the only thing that can derail them from winning multiple titles with this group is injuries. And some teams making some big time trades or just free agency signings. But the future looks very bright for Boston. this is going to be a team that's good for this whole entire decade. I really do believe that they're gonna be good for this rest of this decade. If they remain healthy, then just the sky's the limit for them. But I think teams can challenge them. So it'll be very interesting. I look forward to it. Hopefully there's a team that rises up to take on the challenge and they give us a good rivalry with the Celtics team. That's something this league needs. It'll be very interesting to see all the moves that are made to dethrone them next year. I look forward to that. That I don't have really anything else to say. Just the Celtics are now the most winningest franchise in the league when it comes to championships. They have retaken that claim, the throne, as they would say. Just now they're not sharing it with the Lakers. I'm sure Laker fans have to be salty about this, but this was the Celtics night. They kind of sent a message to the league that they're back and they're going to be here to stay for a very long time. That's all I have to say.